from Anshe Sfard Bethel Emeth Congregation. It's time to take 10 minutes for Torah with Rabbi Joel Finkelstein.
Welcome to our discussion of Parshat Chayei Sarah, Messengers of God. We look at the Parsha, we find something very strange. That is, that in order to secure the future of the Jewish people, in order to find a mate for Yitzchak, the next patriarch of the Jewish people, we send no one other than Eliezer, Damesek Eliezer, a servant of Abraham. At times he doesn't even have a name in the Parsha. Who is this fellow? Why would we send him? Why would you send someone who's not even part of the covenant? Maybe he had a bris as a servant of Abraham, but he's not part of the family. You're going to send him on this important mission to find a bride for Isaac? What's going on? What is this all about? Now we have a premise. You find it very often in the Sivo Shalom, the Rabbi of Slonim. It's a premise, it's a Hasidic premise, it's a pedagogic premise, and that is that all the stories of the Torah are there to teach us a lesson, something important about ourselves. So if we ask ourselves, why did he send Eliezer? Well, after all, it says he was Hamoshel b'chol hashalo. He was a very trusted servant, says the Netziv. The verse explains that since he was so trusted, he could send him. He was also Zakan Beito. We know that Avraham Zaken Baba Yamim, that knew that Avraham was old. That's why he couldn't go himself. There was no choice. Or third idea that Netziv, Naftali Tzvi Yehuda of Berlin gives, perhaps Avraham was so deeply engaged in so many mitzvot, so many good deeds, repairing the whole world, that indeed he had no time to do anything for himself, so engaged in chesed and kindness, he had to send someone else. We find a similar notion in last week's Haftarah. There, the great prophet Elisha, looking for a way to save this boy. There's a boy who's dying. He had brought this boy into life by a special blessing from God, and now the boy fainted, he died, and now we've got to bring him back to life. It's an emergency. And what does he do? He sends Gehazi. He sends his servant. All right, he's his trusted servant, his right-hand man. He's his student. But there's a child's life at stake. Do it yourself. How do we know it'll work if you do send your servant? And in fact, it didn't work. He had to go do it over again. He had to bring the boy back to life himself. What's going on? Sfas Emes seems to imply that what's going on here is very simple. And that is that Eliezer is the model for all of us. Eliezer, yesh lemod mishlichuto derech amiti. You can learn from his shlichus, his being a messenger, what it means to be a Jew in life. You know, we're all on a shlichus. We're all on a service from God. We're messengers of God. What's our mission? What is our mission? The Gemara in Nida, page 30b, says that the angels make us swear in the mother's womb, Tehi tzaddik v'al tehi rasha. Be a tzaddik, be righteous. Doesn't mean you have to be the most righteous person in the whole world. Do the right thing. Don't be a rasha. Don't be wicked, at least. That's our mission. Our mission is do the right thing. Eliezer was such a good servant. We don't even call him by name. Why? To show that shlucho shel adam kamoto, he was Eved Avraham. He says, you know who I am? Eved Avraham Anochi. Don't ask me my name. I'm Eved Avraham. I am a servant of Abraham. And that's what a Jew tries to say every week, every Monday and Thursday. Ana avda de kucha brichu. You know who I am? I'm Eved kucha brichu. I'm a slave of the Holy One, blessed be He. That's who I am. That's my identity, my ultimate identity, to be a messenger of God. Soloveitchik develops this idea that a human being can be a messenger of God. I mean, how is it possible? You know, how can Eliezer be a servant, Lahavdil, of Avraham? How can Gehazi be a messenger of Eliezer? How can anyone really replace you? And certainly, how can a human being be a messenger of God? And yet, that's the idea. The idea of this parsha is that there can be those who can sublimate themselves to say, I am not myself. I am like the one who sent me. I am being sent by God. And ultimately, we can live out our mission. Our mission, we're sent from God to be a tzaddik, do the right thing. Hopefully we can try, like Eliezer, to do the right thing. Now, does Eliezer really know what he's doing? He may be ensconced in, who knows, pagan witchcraft. If I say that the girl should have this kind of drink and she gives the water to the camels, this is not the essence of it. God guided his hand because he was a good messenger. That indeed, although he may be a bumbling, idolatrous type, but the truth is, he's a trusted servant, and therefore God guides his hand and he gets it done. So too with all of us. We have our Eliezer-like qualities. Maybe we don't say it right, we don't do it right. But hopefully, if we have that proper intent to be an Avda de Kusha Brichu, and a servant, a messenger of God, then hopefully God will direct our hand, and hopefully we'll get it right. Thanks for joining us here at the Anshe Sfard Bethel Emeth congregation here in Memphis, Tennessee, for our discussion of the Parsha. Join us each week for our discussion of the Parsha, various how-to videos, and the various holidays. Thanks to Jason Lefkowitz, our producer. Thank you.
This has been 10 Minutes for Torah with Rabbi Joel Finkelstein. To learn more, visit ASBEE.org.